Hey everyone, miss me? I'm back after a couple months hiatus. I'm not sure how high my hiatus got exactly, but trust me, it was worthwhile. So I don't know exactly where to begin, but I'll tell you where we are right now. Why not start with where we are, which is always a great place to start. So I'm going to ask Hallie to just kind of pan around here because I'm returning with a burning. And you can see what happened here. This is my backyard now, okay? And it came precariously close. Hallie, if you want to pan towards the hay house, because they've seen this before. And then you can see how close it all came to taking out our dear friend over there, that holy hay house, which almost became a nay house. You can come back now. Eyes on me. Thank you very much. Okay, are we in focus? Are we good to go?
We are good, Stu.
Okay, we're letting it rip. By the way, happy 5773 out there for all of you people who observe the Jewish holidays, and hope it's a happy one for you, even if you don't. So, here we're going with return with a burn. We're going from an old world to a new world. It's the 2012, things are shifting, things are moving. I've been spending the last couple of months doing all kinds of things, going to Newark to do some new work. Who knew, right? I went to Newark, New Jersey, worked with a friend who has a privately held corporation to really help to get him and his team really on the same page and get executed. Wait, I came out wrong. Get execution. We don't want them executed. We want them to execute, to finally make some sales and see what we can do about spreading the wealth of the technology that they have in the wireless area. And so I was doing work with the leaders on that, so it was new work for me. In fact, I found out, and if you're watching this, I'm not going to mention your name, but I know who you are. I happen to be on the board of this privately held company. And as you know, you may have seen some of these other videos where I'm describing in some detail the trials and tribulations of this new reality TV program, also known as My Life. And in the course of being transparent and being open, because that is part of the new reality, is letting go of the shame and guilt about whatever we're going through. And believe it or not, I've had some financial issues, and if you've seen my other videos, you know about them. And if you haven't, go take a look, because that's why I put them out there, to release the shame and guilt about having any financial issues, because I guess too many of them have them. So let's just call it out for what it is in many cases. And even if we have enough money, it doesn't mean you don't have financial issues. Because I know people who used to have jet envy, okay, where their jet wasn't as big as somebody else's and they couldn't rest, which is, of course, a rather extreme case, but you get the point. So anyway, back to the story here. One of the investors in this privately held company that I'm on the board of, this wireless company, called the CEO and like the founder, a chairman who I went to business school with, who invited me on the board, and said, "Hey, have you seen Stu's videos? It looks like he's in financial difficulties. And I got to tell you, he's got some very strange ideas. I think he's crazy. What's going on there?" My friend, God bless him, thank you very much, gave his truthful response, which I'm very grateful for. He goes, "Stu, he's been crazy for years. Haven't you known? This is nothing new." But I'll tell you what, every time we ask him to weigh in on an issue, he always takes shareholder interests first, and he always takes the high road when it comes to integrity and doing the right thing. So I've always found his advice to be sage. Well, I feel honored by that, even as I have all these other alternative ideas about living a life of joy and freedom and happiness that most people think really isn't the way it is, Anyway, the guy backed off and said, "Okay, as long as you're happy with his advice, no harm, no foul, and let him stay on the board." And, So I know you are out there, and thank you so much for concerning yourself with my degree of sanity. And the truth is, whoever you are out there, may I be concerned for yours as well. Because, if we're sane in an insane world, what does that really make us? Where the world is really upside down. The economy, God bless it, some people think it's cyclical. It's really based on some premises that we're all seeing through, okay? We're all seeing through, and we really know on a profound level the bubble has burst, and things are not what they seem. Things are not what they seem. And so I've spent the last couple of months kind of going inward in my own way. And actually, inward could be spelled with two N's, because I've been like the innkeeper here. Thank you very much to Airbnb. I've been renting out the house here to all kinds of amazing groups, from spiritual groups including the Agents for Conscious Evolution, to a bachelorette party, to some gentlemen from France, to a think tank who've been coming back a couple of times, and all kinds of different people, church groups, all kinds of amazing people have passed through here, and I'm very blessed to report they've paid me for the privilege of being on this amazing property. So here we are, this amazing property almost, was burnt to a crisp, as you can see here. And so literally, I want to give you the circumstances of this. It happened a couple days ago. And I've been working on this this project, and actually, as an innkeeper, I kind of let go of it, because as much as you think it'd be passive income, it ain't so passive. I've been kind of working my little fingers here to the bone, mopping, cleaning, doing beds, hosting, guesting, maitre d'-ing, although I don't serve any food. I do have the complimentary fruit basket, though, for groups of 8 or more, just so you know. Yeah, it's been kind of distracting me and kind of taking my energy, okay? Turns out a friend of a friend here 2 nights ago came over here, said, you have to meet this woman. She's from Germany. Her name is Rita, and she does this thing with muscle testing, and she's an intuitive, and she helps to move energy, remove obstacles, and help people to find solutions and move forward in their lives with greater clarity, greater love, joy, and all the rest. So I said, oh, and the idea was actually, it's not so much for me to be a patient, if you want to call it that, or somebody to be worked on, but rather someone who could be in a position to network her and get her work out there to a larger group audience. So anyway, she's working with me, and we're trying to get to the solutions of the Now Testament, which is a project, nowtestament.com. This is a trailer to the movie. It is coming real soon. I've worked on it in waves, where it really is, as I'm sure you know, about an Old Testament and a New Testament. This is a Now Testament. And so the idea is that we have new frameworks. If the New Testament and the Old Testament literally are like technology manuals to communicate with all there is, to communicate with God, and prescribe very specific pathways, rituals, exercises, prayers with which to do it. The Now Testament, which I've been working on, is considered to be, let's call it a technology upgrade. With all due respect, okay, as we require so much technology upgrade every few months in our cell phones, iPods, iPads, computers, TVs, why we settle for technology to communicate with God, Spirit, Source, and the truth of all things that is hundreds of years old, ultimately written by people who didn't even witness what they wrote. Maybe it's time for an upgrade. And the truth is, it's been kind of birthing within me in waves. In the last few months, I've kind of been rather dormant doing the innkeeper thing and other things. I've been feeling in the last few days that it's really ripe now to come and get into my little birthing position here. And boom, just lay it all out, at least in version 1.0. Because the beautiful thing about the Now Testament is that it is a living, breathing document, as opposed to the others, which are kind of static and fixed in time. The cows agree. So, as we continue here, so she was working with me, and just as she was at the point to explore solutions, someone comes running up from the house like, quick, you gotta come, there's a fire going on in the backyard. And so here's what it is. I had to call 911. We had 8 fire trucks out here, and I gotta tell you something, this thing went up really fast. And I want to thank my neighbor Dan for coming over here with a tractor, getting here in early responder even before the fire trucks to kind of help push dirt and kind of put all this down and everything. So what came to me is, as I'm looking at this Now Testament thing, the first thing is, hey Stu, you're playing with fire here, And as I sat with it, I go, you know what? I know that this is true, and I know that fire is actually an element that is used for purification, to burn away impurities. And really have that truth burning like a flame. And so I'm really clear and I'm really grateful to be able to get that within me, is that I need to be, as much as you know how lighthearted I am, and I like to make fun, because I got to tell you, when you really do connect with your own infinite nature and know that you are an aspect of all that is, and that largely what appears to be as a separate being is really an optical illusion. You can ask Einstein, he said so as much. It does create a sense of lightheartedness. It does create a sense of not taking ourselves so seriously, which may seem really crazy in a world that takes ourselves and the scarcity and the whole materialism thing very seriously, as well as the whole geopolitical process very seriously, right? And what I also noticed, what was missing, and why I haven't come to this final download to get this calling out there, and I know that it is a calling for me, to really invite in the possibility that people's lives can shift, that we can have actually greater influence over how we have a great day, how we perceive life, how we feel inside our bodies, simply by reorienting our framework and worldview to incorporate the fact that we really are these intangible, etheric, energetic beings happening to travel around in a meat suit for a limited time only. It's not who we are, and we could absolutely be living in this magnificent place out here and call it paradise and call it a playground and really enjoy creation, being created in the first place, and having the opportunity to create even more love and joy and fun and peace and all the things that we think we're going to get through money, for example. We could be doing it through all kinds of ways and allocating money in all kinds of ways to increase and support that feeling, that state of being. So what really occurred to me is why I haven't gotten to the last mile yet with all the distractions of Innkeeper and everything else, is that somewhere in the distraction and it taking up my energy and everything, I kind of lost a little passion. And so we're talking about an old world to a new world here in some ways, from an Old Testament and a New Testament, which ain't so new anymore, hate to tell you, to a Now Testament. It's going from an old world, perhaps illustrated best by Donald Trump and The Apprentice, where his catchphrase was, "You're fired." And what I really got from what you see around us here and all the ashes and everything else is the new world of, you're fired up. You're fired up. It's time for me to get fired up and really be excited and enthusiastic and grateful. Thank you so much that I get to be in this position, whatever position this is in. Sometimes it feels like it's bent over, if you know what I mean. Just to allow for whatever I know in my heart to be true, just to come forth and to invite it in with a sense of grace and ease and lightheartedness, simply because I choose to, and I choose to be open to it. So that's what I'm inviting it up for you, whatever it is in your life right now, to go from this feeling of you're being fired to being fired up. So whatever you're doing, I'm really inviting you to get fired up about it. And if it ain't floating your boat, to mix a water metaphor with a fire metaphor, try something else. Look to see where it is that you do get fired up, and throw a log on that flame and really get it cooking. Because part of this shift from an old world, new world thing goes from being an emotional roller coaster, and maybe you appreciate that, because it has been a bit of an emotional roller coaster for me, and I went through a lot with what happened here, and I'm not going to go into details right now. But it has been an emotional roller coaster, coming this close to having, I don't have to worry about selling the property because there ain't going to be much of a sale here. It'd be a fire sale now, wouldn't it? To having this emotional roller coaster with a shift being an emotional escalator. Going from being fired to fired up, going from an emotional roller coaster of all of this to having a real upswing and a real sense of an escalator where we are loving our lives, and even more, no matter who we're with, even when we're alone, and just really consider at the basic level, it is such a miracle and an amazing gift that any of us exist. So I'm just offering that up. I'm back, and we'll continue to be back more often. So you'll see me again real soon. And that's it for now. So stay tuned to the Now Testament. It's coming forth. And feel free, as always, to reach out to me. Give me your comments. Give me your thoughts. If you think like my friend, I'm absolutely crazy, it's okay. Feel free to let me know. Oh, by the way, one more thing. One thing I've done recently, and it hasn't come out yet, is down in Santa Barbara, I've been invited to be on a television show co-hosting on Santa Barbara Public Access a program called Get Conscious Now. And we did our first filming last week, and I got to tell you something, tons of fun. So I'll let you know when that's ready for prime time, ready to be streamed, and you'll get a chance to see that too, if you care. And if you don't, I just want you to know one of my primary lessons that I learned, the first lesson I learned in media training. And I didn't have much of it, but this was a great lesson. It's none of my business what people think of me. So it's really none of my business what you think of me. You think I'm crazy? None of my business. You love me? None of my business. You hate me? Still none your business. Okay? Ultimately, as you really embrace the possibility that you are an infinite being of light, etheric, a spiritual being, having a human existence, you know what? It's even none of your business what you think of you. Because who's doing the thinking? Usually it's some kind of ego that has all these kind of judgments and all these, oh, you should have done that, you should have done that, you could have been this, you're not perfect, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not something enough. And next thing you know, even if you're a millionaire, you feel like a bag of shit. So, I think I've said enough for now, don't you? Okay, I'm going to tune out. Get fired up. That's it for today. I love you. Blessings. Mwah. See you soon.